indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tammy, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Reynolds,
Present.
Mr. Lopez,
Present.
Mr. Helmuth.
Present.
All present and accounted for. We'll move on to approval of the minutes of the June 23rd meeting. I look for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I will make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I have a motion to have a second.
I'll make a second to approve last month's meeting minutes.
Any questions regarding the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the accounts payable claim docket. That was in the amount of $14,076.85. I look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I will second to approve the stormwater docket.
Any questions regarding the stormwater docket? Hearing none, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next, we'll move on to treasurer's report. Mitch, please.
Yeah, the beginning balance for the month was $279,955.00. The revenue month to date was $6,380.84. Dispersed month to date was $14,076 and 85 cents, and then leaving the current balance at $272,258.99.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. We'll move on to MS4 permit update.
Hi guys, I'm Julia Carrillo. I've been here a couple times. I am one of the town's stormwater consultants from Butler, Fearman, and Syford. So Megan Boyard actually wanted to be here today, but she had something come up, so I'm here today. One of the issues we wanted to talk about was the orchard apartments. I know the town has had issues in the past with the dumpsters, like them keeping the dumpsters closed, global trash. So Michael had us create a just like a sign with like dumpster rules to potentially have them hang at the property. I have a picture if you guys would like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you guys can
I saw
capture
some of them, but you could show Mitch and.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
here, take this if you want.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
See that? Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Michael said he sent that over to you.
I just sent it this afternoon.
Okay, so hopefully that will help with that.
You sent it over to
George.
Orchard, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up with a meeting with the manager and the maintenance person so we can get the drawings copied also.
Okay, and then I think I see Markovich on there later.
He's right behind me. Yeah.
We can talk about that later. That's all I have for right now.
Okay.
But if there's ever any changes you guys want me to, that I'd be happy to do it. And if the site ever becomes like an issue where it's a potential like illicit discharge concern, you see trash in the storm drain, you could always use your enforcement power to issue fines if needed.
Yeah. We have an ordinance for keeping trash in the containers, so I can use that now if we need to.
I think that's all you had.
Yeah, but no, that was good ideas. I know I talked to Megan
Mhm.
and those were some good ideas we came up with to try to
Yeah, just to help. I mean, it won't hurt.
mitigate the problem with them.
Mhm. So, thank you.
All right,
Yep,
Thank you.
thanks.
Question?
No, okay.
All right, we'll close that portion of the meeting, move on to public comments. If there's anybody here like to bring something up to the board, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us what's on your mind.
Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Mike Peters, 528 First Street, Porter. For several months now, I've been in contact with Town of Porter regarding some issues with stormwater drainage, and I'm looking for some support and some answers. I saw the nice blueprints that the town has, the engineers did for the entire cul-de-sac project. And speaking with Mr. Berry, we decided collectively that the first stage would just be to remove this 6-inch PVC pipe that was never installed to code to begin with, and it should be a very quick and inexpensive fix. And I'd like to know what the plans are for this.
So as I emailed you, it said the board here is prioritizing the projects. So I know you said collectively, you and Mike agreed to, or the board decides the projects, kind of how we move forward with them. Okay, I know that project, there's a problem with your property that you collect a little water when it rains.
It collects a lot of water when it
And
rains.
it goes away too, doesn't it, in the next day or so?
2 days later, yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
that's,
In this time of year, with all the rain we've had, we had 12 inches of rain in June. Everybody's got water in their yard. I know you seem like it's a real, I understand it's a priority for you. I told you my yard's got water in it too, and I can't, just do something instantly about it. So we
I
are looking
understand- I
at it.
understand that point, but the point is, there's a 6-inch PVC pipe in
Right.
there, which is not up to code, okay?
Right, I don't know, and I guess that goes back to the developer did that when it was
Yeah,
built?
I'll explain that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
And, I'm not asking for $1 million here. It's,
No, I know,
it's,
but
it's a
we
very,
have, we have a whole list of projects,
Okay.
and I know from your emails, you seem like, you felt like you should be pushed right to the top of the list, and,
no, sir, I've never felt that.
well,
I've-
that's the impression that I
Okay.
got from reading them.
Okay.
So-
I'm sorry you got that impression. My impression was that I wasn't getting any response to my emails.
So,
So,
and then I did
to-
respond to your email and said, I'm glad you could make it to the meeting so we could discuss it, so. We have a list here, we're gonna go through and see
Is
what.
this property
projects we
on
can
this
get.
list?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll go through that in a minute.
Okay.
I wanted to step back. What we do, if Mike said this or not said this, other cities do this too. We
Okay.
look at the collective amount of drainage issues. We allocate, we've made a decision over the last 5 years to do a yearly, we call them small projects list, okay? I looked at this after the Christmas rain, and I looked at this after the February rain. Okay, so to me, this is one of the items that I would be looking at. Is I think it is an easy collective fix. Okay, so I'm with you. But to the town's advantage is to bundle 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 projects together and award them to a single contractor rather than onesie twosies. We know that's the most efficient use of the ratepayers' monies as well. So we are, as stated, we are looking and we are going to address what is the collective projects that we want to go after for this year. So it's a very strong contender. So I understand the frustration. We are aware of it. We want to move forward with it. So that's the most that Mike would love to be able to do this. We've tried to talk to Public Works. Why can't they do it? Why can't we work with other departments? Understandable. It's very frustrating. When I was at Valpo, we could rely on the Public Works to do a lot of things to help us out. So it's frustrating on our end.
2 men with a shovel for a day. It's out
I-
there.
I-
Quite simply, that's what
I
it is.
jokingly suggested it would be our community service project for our board here. So,
I mean, I wouldn't be
But-
opposed to it, but I
so we, I feel for you.
I
Just,
appreciate where you're coming from. Like I said, I think it's a very small project.
Yeah.
and I don't think it
I
should
mean,
take this long to,
yeah,
or something like that.
It doesn't make sense when you look at the project.
Since it was never installed up to code when it was put in.
Right.
And it's gotten worse over
There's-
time, so.
We play whack-a-mole with how many different projects that we inherit them, and we have to enforce these rules when they were not enforced when they were put in, or we didn't have proper codes to be able to give us the authority to do that. So this is also one of those items. So,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Yep.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tara Staley, 1505 Cedar. I know we talked about the issue last month, and I was just looking for an update to kind of see where we were at with that. And like you said, perhaps we're on the list,
Yeah,
so
you're on.
we're good. I just wanted to, you know,
We'll go over it in a minute.
be
Yeah, no, we appreciate you coming
top of
back.
mind here. That's all I'm doing.
It's, it's been brutal. We get it.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Pain in the butt, trying to keep up with all this.
Wish we had more people on staff to be able, we're a town of 2,000 people, we'd only have so many time and do appreciate it. Go ahead, Mike. Mike, I'm pretty sure you're 3 though. So,
Yeah. So, is that all we got for public comments?
Yeah, I think that
Okay,
closes
I'll-
public comment.
Well, we did just get approval to order a mini excavator. I just don't know when it's coming. So, we'll follow up with Public Works on it. So I tried to put a list, I had a list that was just a Word file, so I tried to break this down, something that's a little more usable. So I put everything on a list, and then my columns are the streets flooded, are the yards flooded, are buildings flooded, is it within an easement, within a right of way, or is it on private property? And then some comments on it. So like the first one, that's a culvert up in a driveway where I need to tell the homeowner to replace this culvert because it's so far up his driveway, it's not an easement or right of way. And it's too small, and I don't know why it's built that way, but that's over off Wagner Road, west side of Wagner Road, between Baileytown and Wagner Hills. And he has a 12-inch culvert in his yard, and there's a ton of water that comes through there, and it goes over his driveway. It's so far back, it's not in an easement, nor is it in the road, so I'm gonna talk to him about replacing the culvert. His question was, we replaced the culverts on the opposite side of the street when we did the pond upgrade, but they're in the right of way. This is not in the right of way, it's in the middle of his yard, so.
When you did the one for Wagner Hills?
Yeah, when we did the other side of the street, so I'm gonna go over there and look at it again, but there's a really odd drainage pattern. It comes out of the VFW parking lot, crosses Park of Osh, it goes behind Allison Holtman's house, and it meanders through some private property and it goes across this guy's driveway, but it's so far back from the road, it's not in an easement, so we wouldn't be able to do anything unless we got easement. Typically, culverts are the property owner's responsibility for our code, so I just have to talk to him about upsizing the culvert. So that's what the first one is on here.
That all drains from the VFW to the north?
Yeah, all of Baileytown drains east, or a lot of it does, and it ends up in this little ditch. And it meanders through the yard. It's kind of, it's better looked at from an aerial picture, but it's quite a bit of water goes through there. So that's what the first item is. Second item is the village. When we had the heavy rains in June, both Bill and I talked to Charlie over at the village. His rear yard's lower than everything. The whole alley's higher than the entire street of businesses. My recommendation on that is, maybe we should survey that or study that area a little bit. There's no storm drain between Pleasant and Wagner Road for any of the businesses on Lincoln Street. So some of it drains back toward Pleasant in front of the Tilden building, and some of it drains the opposite direction and goes to Wagner. But the back is trapped. There's a very high alley, it's paved. So it's trapped in the back. So I think that needs a little bit more study and try to figure out if there's a way to run anything over to either the village lot next, where he has the horseshoe pits, or if there's a way to drain it to the street. Bill noted the one item was his roof drains. I'll go to the back. And so do the El Jimador restaurant. Everything sort of drains to the back, and then with the really heavy rain, it all made its way into Charlie's basement. So that's on the list, just kind of to study that area a little bit. So I think we need more information on that. The third one is 195 Springview. So that's right on the corner of Beam Street at Woodlake Springs. When the trail was built a few years ago, somehow it altered the drainage pattern, and in this gentleman's backyard is constantly flooded with water, and there's no way for it to get out. So we've looked at a couple of different options to try and maybe put a yard drain in. I had Public Works go out and measure the depth of the sewers in the street. So I just need to do a little bit more work on that to see if we can actually put a yard drain in and run it out to the sewer. So it basically floods his backyard and the trail and doesn't make it to the road. I originally thought we could put a trench drain in and drain it to the road, but the road's actually higher, so it's not gonna go out to the road. It's gonna still sit there. But that's been on our list for a couple of years. We just need to get a little bit more information on it to get that one done. So that's why I put that in. It needs more study. I think it's viable, but at this point, I don't have enough information on it to make it go ahead. So then we have Mr. Peters' yard, as we talked about. The Great Lakes engineering plan was for the whole cul-de-sac. The first part would be to remove that pipe. So researching the drawings laying on your desk, that's actually the construction plan for when they built that subdivision. And there was a lot of remonstrating before that was approved because of drainage issues. And since we have 2 residents that live in that area, they know how bad the drainage works there. There's a culvert on First Street as you pull in there, and a ditch that runs to the north. And then the entire cul-de-sac drains adjacent to the Peters property. And what it says on this drawing, it's hard to read because it's small, but there's supposed to be a detention basin back there.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
the pipe, I highlighted in green, actually was supposed to come out of the detention basin.
Yep.
But in reality, that just seems to flow back to a pipe. You know, I've been out there a couple times, and looked at it, and it doesn't seem to be any form of a basin back there. There might be a wet area, but it's not installed the way they were intending to install it. And then north of there is a very large ditch that was dug out when this was built back in the 90s or whenever it was built. So there's no reason to have that pipe and berm there to restrict anything. It should just all flow into that very large ditch and go. So, as stated, you know, that should be on our
That's
small
that.
boats list.
That's what's in green, the 6-inch.
Yeah, that's that 6-inch pipe. But there doesn't seem to be any formed detention basin there at all.
Yeah, it's
Just
kind of
seems to
meant
be a low
to.
spot, and there's no sides to it, and it flows straight to that pipe, and then it restricts everything. So you've got two larger pipes at the road that drain back along the yard, and then everything gets stuck.
So if you remove the berm and the pipe, is there
And the
enough,
pipe, it solves the
but
problem.
is there enough grade that it's gonna drain?
Yeah, it'll drain right into there's a big ditch right behind there, so it'll go right into the big ditch. So that one I highly recommend we put on there, because again, it's small, but we have to combine that with something else to get a quote, otherwise we don't get a quote. And I was trying to explain that before, but if I call somebody and go, hey, I got this really tiny project to do, it's never gonna get done, because
Right.
they have bigger projects.
Oh, yeah,
They won't even
and we're
look
gonna
at it.
spend a lot of money to try
They
to
won't
get
even
somebody to
quote
come
on
out to
it.
do it.
Now, if we had the mini excavator, we'd done it already, but we just ordered, or we just got approval for it. I don't know how long it'll take to get, but I can probably get this quoted and done faster than waiting for a mini excavator to get here, so.
Okay.
So I recommend that one for sure.
Okay.
And then some of these I'm gonna blow through pretty fast because they're 20th Street Pond, send another letter to the owner, still got all.
That's it, yeah, that's,
Good Lord. Monroe and Vine.
is that causing any issues though, the pond?
Yeah, it's just.
Cause that's what they
So
call
the work
the
we did on 20th Street,
that cul-de-sac drains into that,
we
right?
made all the ditches bigger and put new pipes in. So when it rained real hard, somebody called and said, there's water, but it's in the ditches and off the road, which is actually way better than it was.
Yeah.
So at least it's holding it and then running out that way. But that's a pretty big study area, the way that drains, that pond drains out to Wood Street to a dry well. There's no storm sewer on Wood Street. So that whole area needs to be looked at. It's pretty flat. So trying to get water to go to 23rd Street, which is where it needs to go, is gonna be challenging, but I have to send another letter to that guy. Monroe and Vine was completely flooded when we had the heavy rain. So all of that Mineral Springs Road where the farm field is, that drains my direction west, goes across Vine, over to Vine, and goes to I-94 and drains into the ditch.
That's what part of
When
it.
we had the third heavy rain, that was totally underwater all the way back to Mineral Springs because the I-94 ditch was full. Wasn't anywhere for it to go. Now, the next day it was gone, but it was literally all the water, everything was underwater, all the way up to the houses. It was just a swimming pool.
But that's the first time that's happened, isn't it?
With that much rain, yeah. It normally don't have that much rain.
Yeah.
But that all drains to I-94, so basically cleaning out the ditch, making sure that it's flowing out that way will help.
Part of what you and I looked
But
at.
it's pretty bad.
Right. But that's where they had the problem because they found the gas lines running through the ditch and stuff.
Yeah, that one. That's the one.
Same.
Because they started to clear it. And
Yeah, so that is master plan area 22. That's already on the master plan. So
Yeah.
I just put it on here because it still needs looked at. The next one is actually attached to that. So 271 North Mineral Springs is a house just north of Old Porter Road. We did a project a couple years ago on the opposite side, on the west side of the road. This one's got a very shallow, almost non-existent swale with a hump in it. And I talked to, it's a new homeowner, so I talked to her and I said, well, the part that's in your yard, if that was, eliminate the hump, it would flow a little better. But while we were there, everything north of there was underwater, so it's nowhere for it to go anyway. There's a couple of bushes that we were trying to see if, I'm gonna call them bushes, if they were in the ditch, in the right-of-way part of the ditch or in the yard part, we were trying to figure out where they're at. Because if they're in the right-of-way, she'd like them removed, and we can have Public Works yank them out and get rid of them, but they're blocking some of the flow. And then there's an area that drains, I'll just say it's a bunch of trees, that drains up to that farm field and then back into this whole system. So she just has literally water in the front of her yard, but she wants to know how to get rid of it. So what I told her is when we look at this other area, it's part of the same drainage area. And we'll see if there's anything we could do to fix that, but it's been that way for quite a while, so I'm not real sure how. The next one's Tremont Road. That is, if you recall the violin shop we had downtown, that's the widow of the person who passed away, used to own the violin shop. There's plenty of drain slope in the ditch. I think her culverts are probably clogged up. John Seacrest went out and looked at that once. The ditch is kind of overgrown, but I think her problem's really the culverts. So I'm working with her on trying to get those cleared. Got silted in. There's not really any water moving through there. And then she has some other issues in the back that are Shirley Hines project that doesn't have anything to do with us. So that one's on the list just because we need to figure that one out. 1311 Water Lily, I kind of explained that before. In 2009, the town regraded the ditch from the pond at Wagner Hills up to right behind this house. And it looks like this. It's that steep. And what's happening now is it's caving in and his fence is falling over. And he wanted to know if we could pipe that. So the property to the east of him was piped back in 2009. And it's a 24-inch pipe. So that's about 120 feet of pipe to do, get rid of this ditch. Now, normally that wouldn't be something I prioritize, but I kind of feel like the town created half that problem by regrading the ditch prior to our predecessors. He can't maintain it. It's just full of overgrown, phragmites and whatnot. But it's so steep. When they put that in there, I started here in 2011, so it was done before I got here, but it's been an issue since I started here because it's too steep to maintain. And you can't weed whack something that's shaped like that. I mean, it literally looks like it. So I added it to the list to do a little more look-see at, but the pipe coming to it is a 24-inch pipe. If we left the gap there so that there was sort of a place for the water to flow and added more pipe, I think that would be fairly simple to fix, but it's up to you guys to see if you think we should do that or not. Of course, the next one's Cedar Street, and that's part of that phase 2 study area. We need to do some surveying out there and work on that. So that might be one of the priorities for next survey project, to look at that area. Because there's quite a bit to survey.
Do we have a scope kind of set out for that, or is it in the master plan for what?
Well, it's scoped out as part two of Dune Forest study area in the master plan.
Yeah.
So if we pull that
So
out.
we kind of have a
shows
scope
that.
at least.
When we built the first section, which was down on Dune Forest Trail, and there's
Yep.
I call it limestone waterfall that goes down there. That solved a lot of the issues on
Down there.
Loki and
Yep.
whatnot, and down at the bottom. But it didn't solve any of this. So that water, as we talked about last time, comes through backyards where there's no easements and then runs through her, right by her back door, essentially. There's a river that goes right past her back door and then, under the driveway and all that stuff. So it's really not a great idea to leave it that way, but we need to figure out how to drain that area to get water, through the neighborhood and not through someone's backyard. like
Yep.
Is there a ditch in front of the property?
Nope.
No, it goes behind her house.
It's, yeah,
And then
I've walked
it comes back out to the front after it goes through her property.
after it goes completely.
But the way it hits, so the road comes up and sort of dead ends, and then she owns the property over here also, but there's a sort of a swale that comes through and all this water collects and goes right through the backyard. And it was that way before she bought the house. It just hasn't
You need to intercept
got any
it.
better.
Detroit
It
Street.
needs to be routed
It's a-
around to the street somehow.
It's
Yeah.
Basically, you gotta use Detroit Street to
Yeah.
intercept it.
Yeah, so I think we should prioritize that area as a study area and get something started on it. However we want to do that.
Well, the water that comes down Detroit Street, there's a ditch there, right? And then it crosses, or no, that's not Detroit, no.
And it's split. So part of the water that's coming from the west goes toward Ash and through
Yep.
our
That's what I
property.
meant,
And the
Ash,
other
yeah.
part of it goes the opposite direction. So
Goes
where
west.
she's at,
Yep,
that's the culvert that crosses Trent Albert's driveway and Irwell.
There's-
That dumps out behind her.
that
Yeah.
watershed is split.
That's a slight, yeah, it splits. So it's a different area.
Yeah, so we gotta define the watershed. No, define, delineate, no,
Yeah.
It's, yeah. It's,
give me a map. Let's go. All right,
sounds like a project we can work on, Eric.
and get it done.
630 Woodlawn, that's the corner of Woodlawn and Ottawa. We already did a study of the area we plan on doing. I only put this on here because he called me, so that's why it's on. That's part of a future CCMG project when we pave Michigami, Potawatomi, and all the streets. We're gonna put in the storm drains that are not there now. That should resolve that issue, but that's probably a couple years off. His yard, it just sits on the corner. And when it rains real hard, he's got a split rail fence and you'll see the water sitting there. That's why he called. So I put it on. It's not going in his house. It's not doing anything like that. It's just annoying. So, Otay at Dearborn, I added for a different reason. So between Dearborn Street, which is where Melissa Cohen lives, and Lakewood Trail, which is on the south side of Otay, there's a couple of, I'm gonna call them storm drains because I don't know what to call them. There's a couple of inlets with HDPE pipe that just runs down a hill into Cohen's property. And they're falling apart and they're really terribly built and you wouldn't see them unless you got out and walked. But they need to be addressed at some point. We've done most of Otay where we've curbed it and run it the right way. But what's happening there is there's no curb, so there's a lot of erosion going on. And these inlets are, I can get you pictures of them, but they're pretty,
These are the ones at the very bottom, or you're talking the one just
they're right
towards
past.
Melissa's house?
So we did the one in her.
Those
street.
ones work. It's the one, I know which one you're talking about.
They're just west of that in Botay. on
East.
Botay.
East.
You wouldn't notice them unless you got out of your car and walked. You'll
To the-
look, I know you will.
I know. Yeah, to the east of there, right? To the east of the
West.
double.
West of her drive,
West of
West of
her,
your-
yeah, but the double that we put in at the bottom of Botay.
not that, this is two separate little junky pipes.
Yeah, the issue just,
They're falling apart and they're
And it-
dumping on her property.
and it's very close to undermining the road.
Yeah,
Okay, that's the,
If you get out of your car in Dearborn and just walk along the side of the road, you'll find both those. Can't miss them. I'll meet you down there if you want. All right.
Also down there, Mike, is the end of Wabash is flooded, you know that.
Yeah, I know. I wonder
So-
why.
So
Nowhere
that's,
for it to go.
that's something else we have to, you know, when we talked about that one before, but
Yeah, when we move the road over eventually, we can figure
but
that
that's
out.
not gonna mitigate it at all either to do that, is it?
Because if we can, if.
you won't be, the water won't,
Johnson Beach Road is gone,
yep,
and we move that back to the fence, then we have somewhere we can dump water down.
you don't have, the water can sit there for all it want,
You know, have somewhere to
Town.
go to,
impact.
not have to worry about it. Yeah, it won't make it to the lake. 90 West Burwell, we already have Great Lakes Engineering Plan. I went back out. There's a couple things I need to add to that are pretty simple. So we can include,
Talked
the
about
three
that.
that I had in orange are the ones I wanted to have quoted. That's inlet and pipe to a culvert, but when I went out and looked at it, there's some ridiculous old pipes that shouldn't be there, need to be removed, and a sinkhole that we can fix really easy. So I want to add those issues to that other one. Hunter's Glen, we had Great Lakes Engineering plans for that. We have the spillway in the ditch. So I guess what we need to talk about on that is, do we want anything to have the HOA responsible for any of that? I don't know. It's this, the way that word is worded, you know, we're responsible for the connections of everything from the basins. So the ditch part would be us. A spillway from the pond, you could probably toss a coin on or split it, but they don't have a lot of money in their HOA. They only make, I think it's $12 a month. So
There's is more than that.
it's just to solve the flooding problem. So we're not flooding the end of the street when it rains really hard and flooding Oak Hill Road and get the water to spill down where it's supposed to go. So it's all drawn up and ready to quote. We put it in there, we can get quotes on it.
What would you
At least
guess?
find out how much it costs.
What would you guess would be like the rough estimate for the cost of that?
That's
ballpark.
that's skid steer work and some stone. So, you know, I'm hoping that's like under 20 grand for the whole thing.
Under 20 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause it's really, you know, that's it, a skid steer and put some fabric and stone down and boom, you're done with that. So,
Well, I mean, is there any way that I think we talked about?
till we get
like,
a quote, we don't know. Yeah.
That's fair, but I think we talked about before about like at least maybe coming to some sort of an agreement with the HOA where they cover partially.
Yeah.
or-
And I think it might be better if we had a quote first and then
That's fair.
go talk to them.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Archip.
Yep. And then the last one is 440 Francis. That's been on the list for 3 years. We did get quotes on that before. What happens is the water sits in his driveway and runs back into his house because the storm drain further up the road here, water doesn't reach the storm drain. So I looked at that again because it was almost 30 grand to drop an inlet on top of the pipe, which sounded simple, but that was really pretty expensive. So when I looked at it, there's about a 0.6 of a foot or not, about half a foot fall in 60 feet. And you could put a concrete swale in and run the water to the inlet that way. And then it would drain. There's a very wide right of way. So basically you put a shallow concrete swale in, the water would go right into the thing, get out of there. So I just looked at that today. I think that's maybe get a little bit more information on how we could do that much easier than trying to drop in a $30,000 inlet. So
There's no curb there.
no curb.
On that part of the road.
Yeah, it's just that water, it just sits there and it goes in his driveway, and if it rains really hard, it goes back up into his garage, into his basement, so. He's been very patient, but, it only does that when it rains really hard, but it's still going that way. But I think that would be a much easier solution. I actually talked to him, and that's where we came up with the idea. We run a concrete, it's like the gutter in it.
Yeah.
Except there's
Yeah.
no curb, so just run it right down there. So I'm gonna try and get a little more information on that.
And how far?
It's about 60 feet. so not very far. Crosses his driveway, the next neighbor's driveway, and then the inlet's right on the corner of Indiana and Francis. That would take the water out of there without, less invasive than the other one. So I think at a minimum, if we put the First Street, Burwell, and Hunter's Glen on the quote list, and if I can add a couple more, that's fine, but, well, we have to watch our budget. We've still got, 75 grand left to spend on Dyer that hasn't, they haven't billed us yet for all of that work. And a few loose ends to pick up. I did not get Dyer or David's Lawn Care to give me a quote to install that erosion control stuff yet. So they both seem to have forgotten to do that, so, probably won't have that till next week, which won't do any good for this meeting. But that was $7,700 in material, not counting labor to install it. And then that would fix the erosion problem with the ditch. When it rains really hard, it's just eroding the bottom of the ditch.
Where are we at with Dyer and the rest of the stuff?
They've still got the inlet to change the lid on, which for some reason I can't understand why they haven't done it, but they get the trees installed. Most of the grading work was, basically it's just that one inlet. They need to put a different lid on.
And how about that on the corner by Judy Chemma's house where the water's not flowing?
That's when they gotta fix. So the inlet, the pipe, to make sure the water flows. That's really the only thing they have left.
So how are they gonna fix that?
I don't have an answer yet. The guy said he'd get back to me in a couple days, so hoping to have it before Friday. 'Cause I've asked him and he forgot about it or went on vacation. He forgot about it, so that finished. That's really the only part of that. I think it's still got an issue right there.
That and then, well, we still didn't resolve
Not
that.
going in there.
The other issue with the old pipe that wasn't terminated.
Oh, yeah.
So what we gonna do with that?
Yeah, we can call, I can call locates in and we can just, Public Works can tear that out. Just cut it back.
It needs to be terminated or whatever.
Yeah, we
right?
just
'Cause
need
it's
to
gonna-
cut it back to property line.
It'll continue to create a sinkhole there.
Yeah, but if we pull it back out and cut it off, and just fill it up, it'll be fine. So we can do that. I'll call locates for that one.
Eric, did you have anything? Or Mitch?
What do you need from us, Mike?
Hmm?
What do you need from us?
I'd like to go ahead on the 3 orange ones and just get quotes out, and then I could do that ASAP.
The boat drive at Dearborn, is that like, I mean, typically replace inlets and pipes. How would it make sense to include that in the, like, if we're just lumping everything together? Or
Could if you want.
could if I want? Okay. Well, I just mean, like, would it be like, I'm more thinking we do the 3 recommended, but is there anything that we could, small, cheap projects to lump in to get our money's worth to save money down the line? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, so normally when you have stormwater inlet, you have a structure
Mm-hmm.
in inlet. Now, if you saw what was off the end of Bote, not even being, really not, anybody goes and looks at it, you're gonna go, that ain't right. I mean, it's like a pipe sticking out of the ground with rocks around it. It's just horrible. And it's falling apart. It really shouldn't be like that. So, it should be a little bit better.
Okay.
construction on it. So that might be, let's put some concrete down with the pipe in the end of it, make it look like an inlet, a little piece of curb or something like that. Or, maybe we curb it from Dearborn Street to the west a little bit, sort of like we did down at the other low end of Bote, where you're actually capturing the water with the curb and sending it to an inlet instead of just this eroded mess that's over there right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And this isn't just I made it up. This has been complaints from some
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
But we could throw that in.
I'm just trying to think of, like,
Just have to make
anything
it
that's like small, relatively cheap as a preventative measure,
Yeah,
the things that, so we don't have to spend more down the line fixing problems,
Mhm.
So, I mean, I know we want to, be cost effective here. So I'm just trying to think of like, what do we, what can we incorporate now so that we save in the future, if you get what I'm saying.
well, that one, I think what I would do is I would meet Eric down there
Okay.
at his convenience and figure out what to sketch up for that, so.
Okay.
Well, the 20th Street, that cul-de-sac's flooded still, all right?
Can't do
Wait a
anything.
minute, 23,
20th Street Pond. We already did the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, but it's still flooding, isn't it?
it's the pond,
It's the pond.
So it's the
We don't
pond
have
that's
control
created.
of the pond.
yeah, the pond that Porter County was supposed to send to us. That they,
Right, but I thought there was still an issue with the,
when it rains hard, the water sort of levels with the pond and the road and the ditches, and then it goes away. So it didn't flood the street with the new ditches we put in, it held all the water, so.
all right,
So it's way better than it was, but the pond is still a problem.
but it's still not,
Since somebody in Oklahoma has it and hasn't responded, then we don't get too far with it. So I think what I'll do is figure out a better way to send a letter to
so,
them.
here's another
Wait.
question. What, is there access to that pond, or is it,
There's a gate at the end of 21st Street
yeah,
with a lock on it. So one of the things that probably talk to the attorney about is, do we have any emergency powers to go in and fix that? Because if the person who bought it at tax sale doesn't
So what's-
respond, how are we supposed to do it?
what's the fix, just to excavate the pond some?
Figure out if there's anything blocking the pipes. First we have to find them. And you'd have to bush hog your way in there to get to it, because it's all overgrown. See if we can locate the pipes and then see if it plugged up or what. Because I have a feeling that they're fully junk, just the way that looks. That probably doesn't help any. So we know where it goes out to Wood Street, located that, so. If it flows out to Wood Street and it was actually moving, it would push up a little bit in the ditch at Wood Street. It's still a dry well, it won't go anywhere, so. That's just another terrible design.
I got two parts. You're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll make a motion for Mike to seek quotes for the 3 recommended.
And that's the First Street,
The 3 that are in orange.
First Street,
528 First Street, 90 West Burwell, and Hunter's Glen Ditch and Pond as a itemized a la carte, but as with one contractor.
Yep.
all right.
So if we can see that by,
It won't take long to get that back.
okay,
All right, Eric's motion is to get the
Go
bids
ahead.
for those first 3 projects. Do we have a second?
I've got a second part. But
I mean, yeah, I'll second it. I just want to
Or do you want to add something to it?
bundle as much as we can
Right,
to save
sure.
as a preventative measure. So that's all.
What
I'm
else do you want to
saying.
add to it?
I mean,
I'm open.
Mike, would you have any sort of secondary recommendations as like just smaller things that you think
Well-
would be easy to just sort of bundle in?
so
I mean,
so those 3 are gonna be at least $60,000.
yeah,
So let's just keep that.
each of those is 60,000. Okay,
Yeah.
let me crunch some numbers.
And we have allocated funds that we have set aside. So
Yes,
it's basically
yeah.
our
Yeah, we
net.
don't wanna go too low,
Yep.
in case we have an emergency.
So doing these 3 would approximately be our net income for the year.
Gotcha.
That's kind of my thought process.
So would you say that we shouldn't add anything else just because you don't, we're not entire, okay, then that's fine. Yeah, no,
I
I'll,
guess you could see where the
We-
bids
we
come
can
back
see
and
where
then
the
see what,
quotes
if we
are.
want
Look
to
next.
put out something to
Yeah.
it.
okay.
And I do have a second part after we have made that motion.
Okay, well, I'll second the motion.
You want to add to it now or something?
You want to add to it?
No, I'm gonna make a separate.
A second? Okay, okay, that's
All
fine.
right, so the motion is to get bids for those first three projects. All in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So, and then I'll make a motion that we, seek high-level request for quote for the Dune Forest Part 2 study.
Okay.
Just kick the tires. If you already have the scope identified,
Yeah.
we have some engineering consultant, so we can at least see what estimated costs would be. So that would address 1505 Cedar Street primarily. But I do
Yeah.
want to kind of see what the watershed sort of, if I think that that's too expensive for the watershed, then I will actually make the recommendation at a future meeting that we kind of more dive into this specific project. So that's my motion.
So the motion's to do a study on what we need to do or to
Do-
try to figure out, get,
Part 2 Dune Forest Study Area.
okay. And what are we doing? I mean, as far as that, getting the drawings or getting the
I
engineering?
gotta.
Getting the study.
Just this-
It's just the study
Study.
first and foremost. What is the area? What's the watershed? What does the drainage paths looks like? No construction plans, no drawings, no survey work. Engineering, I mean, if I could work for the town, I'd get it done over the weekend, but it's really not that hard.
We might take you up on it, Eric.
I might have to.
All right,
I'll second the motion.
all right. All in favor of approval of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, that's our path forward. Anything else on updates, Mike?
Nope.
Okay, we have no old business, move on to new business, real quick, we have Markovich Retention Pond. Mr. Markovich. We were just trying to look for some sort of, what the plan is with your pond, because we don't want to create any more issues for the town, you see, we have plenty of them already.
I hear that, and I understand that. Respectfully, when I bought these lots, I didn't develop this development. I bought them as platted lots. And I was asked by Michael, by the town, to provide a retention pond to drain the western properties of that and the southern properties, which we did, and which I did pay for. What I, in hindsight now, because that's what I assumed you were going to ask me, was that I wish I would have been asked sooner to provide a POA or an HOA, POA in particular, that I could have taken to the current owners and forced the issue for permanent maintenance. I've spoken to my attorneys and said, is there any options on that? And unfortunately, it's only voluntary at this time. What I can do, and I'm willing to do, is I need a letter from your board requesting this, that I can at least send to them. I believe a significant number of them will sign on, and then see what I can bring back to you from that standpoint. But the minute I close on that property in 2021, I was sent stormwater bills. I've built in 5 different developments in the town of Porter in my 34 years. And in each of these, from Porter Cove to Wood Lake Springs, Mineral Springs on down, there was never a request on platted lots to provide for drainage and maintenance thereof of me as a builder. So I didn't have a reason at the time, and I wasn't asked. I wish, like I said, 3 years ago, if you had come to me and said, Mark, what's your plan? I could have easily done that. I'm willing to work with you. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to see the town get stuck here, and I'm not trying to walk away from something, but I simply didn't know, based that I was looked on as a developer of these lots, because I really didn't develop them. I just built within the parameters of what the lots were platted at.
No.
Is there anything I can add, or anything do you want from me, or I do need a letter?
One option would be to, like you texted me, is to tie
did.
that lot to the house.
I offered it to a buyer.
Yeah.
It is a possibility. I told him I was coming here to speak.
We
He would
have
want to
that-
put a concrete pad next to that
Yeah,
house
that's
though.
fine, but we have that situation with Chief Dickey's house, is his pond, that pond at Wagner Hills is part of his lot. So it's not unprecedented, but.
And he would definitely be responsible for the mowing of it, around it.
I mean,
At least
the
that
other
part of it.
options are the town is allowed to do special assessment for drainage in certain area. We talked about that way back when we started looking at Porter Ridge Pond. If we wanted to, we can do special assessment for an area to do maintenance on a pond. That wouldn't make anybody extraordinarily happy, but we're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I just, you know, I mean, in hindsight, it's like.
Trying to figure
I know, I know. I've thought
Yeah,
about
this
it for a
is
week and a
something
half
I
and,
didn't think about it going
No.
forward. Now,
None of us.
in the
Right.
future, I would definitely.
I know, and
Yeah,
I
before
wish,
you-
like I said, I've got 13 or 11 of the 12 lots are sold. I've got one left, the one next to the retention pond is being held back, of course. And I understand the predicament now as I'm looking at it, but in my defense, with the amount of fees I paid on 14 lots for the past 5 years, there is a bit of a expectation or understanding that at least part of those fees would go toward the retention pond that's put in. I see now that it's not, but you know, that's where my head was at and thought process was. So, like I said, if you can get me a letter as soon as possible, I can generate something.
I guess it's a discussion we could have here, but that's what I think that would be probably the first path to try to do that. I talked to our attorney and.
Yes, and they can,
pass to the whole-
Bill Ferngren's well aware of it. I've talked to him. He can get with Bill and we can work it out together and come up with something that's amenable to the town and the residents. I don't think all the residents will pay, but I do believe a significant number of them will. I floated out an idea of $100 a year, which would generate $1,200. I'm willing to get it started and make sure that, you know, we'll take care of it initially and then see what we can do. Mowing on that would probably be about $50, $60 per mowing. It's only on two sides because two sides are going to be mowed regardless from lot 14 and lot number 3.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just it'll add to their property value if it's maintained properly.
Correct.
You know,
And they're well aware of that. The people I've talked to have said the same thing. And a couple of them have already told me, hey, we'll pay if it gets mowed. That's their thought process. So
Is your intent when this last lot sold to do what with the property? You have an intent at this time or you not?
I don't have an intent. I did speak with Michael about it, trying to figure out what to do with it. And there's,
So
you know,
if you stop paying taxes, would it?
well, I'd rather not do it that way. I'd rather deed it over to the
Right?
town. I don't want,
Literally just
I know
walk
that,
away
but
and
that's
give it to
not
the
my
town?
intent. I'm not
Or
trying
if
to
you
walk away
don't
from
deed
it.
it to the town and somebody picks it
I
up.
would deed
on
it to the
tax bill,
town, yes.
So you would deed it to the town?
I would, if that's what the town wanted me to do, that's my preference, yes. But I don't know. That's not, you know, being honest. But I don't want to keep it forever either. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, and the reason this came up was the other one we were talking about, Porter Ridge. So Porter Ridge was, 2 gentlemen developed it years ago, and they both passed away. And then it went to tax sale, and we spent, I don't know, 3 years trying to get Porter County to convey it to the town, and instead they sold it to somebody. So now I can't get a hold of the owner, so we're trying to avoid that.
Right. I have no problem with that. That's
So
not
might
an issue.
we have the ability to do a special?
The town's allowed to do a special assessment for something in a specific area, if it's only for that specific area, so a pond, for example. That you're allowed to
I've
do
paid
that.
on those on other properties before. It's not a big
It's
deal,
kinda-
so.
In the
Doesn't have
county,
to be
you see that,
large, you just have to cover the maintenance costs. So
so
that's
many
an
mills
option.
or something like that.
And that's what we talked about for Porter Ridge until Porter County did give us.
What is that process? Is that with the year or is that with the council?
That would, well, I'd have to talk to Corinne, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a council thing, but it's creating a special area for whatever
Think we should
reasons are per law, and then you have a special.
Pursue that in parallel since it's essentially doing the same thing in
Right.
whichever
Yeah.
way
If it was
we.
like, $10 a house per month or something like
Right.
that, it's not a lot of money.
Right.
It covers the maintenance.
That's what you could tell them. Might be cheaper for them if they all agreed to be in the
Right.
association or whatever.
I've got 2 in mind that are probably would just be negatives just because they are, and you know one of
Oh,
them.
you
And most of the others are pretty amenable, and I don't think that would be a problem. And again, that's why I'm asking from you, your board, to say, give me something, instead of just Mark saying this to them,
Right.
it gives
No,
teeth to it
I
to say, hey,
totally
this
agree
is the
with you.
request, and
That's much better.
it makes it easier, and I can attach it, so.
Mike, do you have something? Do you need something from us?
I don't have anything yet, so we can draft
We'll get,
something up.
yeah, I'll speak with the attorney and then we'll get
Is it
something
just-
drafted.
Is it a letter that you can say, this is the issue, this is the options that we are pursuing, we're pursuing a POA, we're also pursuing a special watershed assessment?
You can do an if or,
Use that
I would
term.
think, just say,
You can
we would
deliver, we
prefer,
can
the board
deliver.
would prefer to you to join a POA and agree to this in perpetuity. Otherwise, the town's gonna be forced to do a special exception and add it to the tax bill, basically,
Et cetera.
Mhm.
Okay,
and in legality.
I'll work it, Mike.
We'll figure something
Thank
out
you.
there. We got some ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Appreciate you adding housing stock to the community, so thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you need from me?
No,
No,
Thank you. for
appreciate it.
coming.
Thank you. Have a good day.
um, that's all we had. Our new business. Any comments from the board or anything else? Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. We have a letter written to Tammy here. I'm writing in response to your June 23rd, 2026 letter concerning stormwater fees, which will be levied on my property beginning July 2026. Please be aware, this property has been completely landlocked with no access to any street, no right-of-way easements in any kind. In addition, has no connection to any utilities. Been placed on the market several times in the past 10 years with no offers at all even from the adjoining owners. Despite its assessed value, it is functionally worthless since the parcel is unbuildable and unsellable. I would ask that you remove any stormwater fees being levied on this property. I appreciate your consideration in this matter. Joseph Scott Jordan.
He sent it certified, he emailed it, he faxed it. I got it regular mail, and he has called.
Does he live in the area? Is he?
He lives in Gary, I think it is.
Okay. He has a landlocked piece. How big is the
You want
property?
my opinion? So are all the pieces that are underneath the lake.
Right.
And
you
those
think
all
we
have
should be-
stormwater fees.
We should be collecting stormwater fees.
You can live a quarter mile out under 15 feet of water in Lake Michigan, and our town statute says that every lot gets assessed. Doesn't matter landlocked or not, doesn't matter if it's worthless or not.
I,
We don't have,
There's a lot of properties at Porter Beach like that.
yeah,
in the middle of nowhere.
the stormwater is for everybody. I live on a giant sand dune. I'm not worried about flooding, but I drive across pipes. Okay, so that's just,
so I guess
we don't make exceptions for all the lots in the lake. Right, Mike? How many lots are buried under the lake? We don't make exceptions for the national park.
I look for a motion to deny his request to remove the stormwater fees,
You make a motion to deny it.
to deny his request.
I second the motion to,
No, I'm not, I'm asking, that's the motion I look for. Yes,
I will make a motion to deny
his
the request to
waive stormwater
be,
fees.
yeah, ignore stormwater fees.
I'll just add in commentary that like it's a tough situation for the guy. I understand that. I sympathize with him. I was even trying to see as any exception has been made before in Porter. So there's been none that I'm aware of, and so yeah, I would agree. So yeah, I would support the denial.
Okay, second the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor of the motion of being passed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That's all we have. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, Mike?